Hey there, it's Walt. So I had the great privilege recently of speaking to a group of law students, and I shared with them some thoughts around being a good lawyer. And it occurred to me that these thoughts that I shared also applied more broadly to being an effective and good business professional in general, an entrepreneur, business professional. And then it occurred to me that there's some pretty good general thoughts for being successful in our lives. And there were 5 of them. The first one was be curious. You know, what often happens as we grow and evolve and begin our professional lives is the time stops, that we get stuck, we get very narrow, we get very focused on our particular area of expertise, and we stop being students. We stop being curious. And to stay a student, to stay curious through our lives, to always be learning, to always being on the path to growth and personal and professional development is key. And to be curious in the world, to be curious about politics, to be curious about science, to be curious about history, to be students of all of these things, to stay students of all of these things and not become so locked and rigid and siloed that we can't see all of the perspectives that there are in the world. And there's so much to learn and to enjoy and to grow into when we stay curious. So thought number 1 is be curious. The second thought I shared was this: be vulnerable. It's so easy as we become more professional, as we become more evolved in our respective disciplines, to think we've got it all together, that we have all of the answers. And we end up with these big egos appearing bulletproof in the world. And that doesn't create accessibility. It doesn't allow for other people to connect with us. We need to be vulnerable in a way that other people say, oh, that person walked the path. He or she gets me. I remember when I was in a very dark place in my career and stumbled upon the book written by my amazing coach, Tama Keeves, and I found myself just weeping as she shared her journey from Harvard to a litigation firm to finding such despair in that adversarial environment. And I thought, oh my God, there's someone in the world who understands me. And yes, as business professionals, as coaches, consultants, lawyers, physicians, accountants, we want to have really grounded confidence in the world. We want a really solid ego so that we can go out and serve and make a difference. And we need to be able to connect with other people. Other people, our people, need to be able to connect with us. And so the idea is to be vulnerable. And vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of great, great courage. The third thought that I shared was be present. There are so many distractions in the world. In fact, we live with a world of constant distractions, social media distractions, emails, text messages, notifications, alerts, things constantly binging and banging, and we're just rife with distraction. And the ability to be truly present to another person, to be truly there, is one of the greatest gifts that you can give to another person. To be right there, present, here, now, connected, and not always distracted. A dear friend who was also my physician for many years, an orthopedic surgeon, Orthopedic surgeons are busy. All of us as business professionals are busy. But in that profession, oftentimes patients are lined up and down the hallway, and the orthopedic surgeon goes from room to room to room, just checking and moving on. And this surgeon, his name was Roy, he would come in and he would take off his white coat and he would hang it on the back of the hook and he would wash up his hands, and then he'd sit down on a stool down lower than the examining table, and he'd be there. It was as if I was his only patient for the entire day, and he connected. He was present with me, and that was such a great gift. And we need to remember as coaches, consultants, business professionals that often the people that we're serving are unsure, they're in pain, they're concerned, they're troubled, they're feeling needy, they're scared. And to give them the gift of your presence is an amazingly powerful gift. The fourth thing I shared with these students was to be the change you want to see, to be instruments of change, to be leaders regardless of where you are on the path. Be the instrument of change. And change takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. Races are run one step at a time. Mountains are climbed one stride at a time. Cathedrals are built over generations, one stone at a time, and change is hard. But wherever we are along the path, we can be instruments of change. Even if we're lowly associates in our firm or just starting out in a business, we can be instruments of change. And not to get frustrated, not to be despairing, not to be disempowered, but to realize that these gifts and talents that we all have are needed in the world, and to be the voice for change, to be advocates, to speak out, to speak our truth, and to lead into that change that we want to see. And the fifth B that I shared with these law students was be you. You know, so often, and I see it in the digital marketing world, I certainly saw it as a lawyer, we want to be cookie cutter versions of whatever it appears that we want to be. That is to say, lawyers all wear the same dark suits and the same white shirts, or the same ties. We drive the same cars and go to the same clubs. So many coaches and consultants and speakers, they try to fit in some type of cookie cutter version of what it is to be that thing. And there are a bazillion coaches, consultants, business professionals, lawyers, doctors, accountants, wealth managers. The only way that you can stand out in the world is to be you, to be unabashedly, unashamedly be you. And that is your personal brand. That is the thing that will allow you to stand out in the world and to touch those people, to connect with those people that you're meant to serve. So be curious, be vulnerable, be present, 100% present. Be the change you want to see, and be you. Just be you. I finished with one of my very favorite quotes by Howard Thurman. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask rather what makes you come alive. Because what the world most needs right now, in this very, very challenging time, what the world most needs right now are people who are alive. So I invite you to think about these thoughts on being and lean in to being alive in the world and connecting with those people that you're meant to serve, and to share those gifts and talents that are uniquely yours in a big way. Make it a great rest of the day, great rest of the week. Talk soon. Bye for now.